Let me just ask you, first of all, what you'll be listening for tomorrow when the Fed chair speaks. How much does the testimony tend to change here every 6 months?
That completely depends on circumstances, and the big circumstance that's changed in this case from 6 months ago is who the President of the United States is, not so much about the economy. What I'll really be listening for most, I don't expect to hear it, but it's possible, is a hint, and it would only be a hint, if anything, of a rate hike in March. I don't think she'll give that, but it's possible.
What does that kind of hint look like, or what would it sound like if she were in fact to give it?
It would have things about, she'd talk more than she usually does about inflation, which is creeping up, certainly not at worrisome levels, but creeping up. She'd emphasize the strength of the economy, and she might. I suspect that it'll come in questioning, if it comes at all, speak out about her concern, the Fed's concern, about excessive fiscal stimulus at this point in the business cycle.
How well have
I think she'll probably try to steer away from that.
Yeah, how well have she and her colleagues managed to thread that needle? In other words, forecasting out, bearing in mind that there might be some sort of promised fiscal stimulus, yet not betting the whole farm on that?
Yeah, well, they've, what's the right way to put this? They haven't had to thread the needle yet. When the Trump fiscal policy is announced, then the needle threading starts. And indeed, I think Janet Yellen hopes it's only needles, not sledgehammers, because this could be a whopper. We don't know yet. And if it's a whopper, the Fed will have to respond, not in a quid pro quo way, not emphasizing, well, you guys are overstimulating the economy, therefore we have to smack it down. But a much more subtle version of that will be the message.
Has the cloud of uncertainty, she's called it, begun to lift at all, even if by lifting that's only revealed the fact that tax reform takes a long time? To implement any of these policies might take longer than investors would have hoped.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think the cloud is mostly still there. And I take the point about tax reform completely. It takes really a long time. But just coming in and cutting taxes, as, for example, George W. Bush reminded us, and Ronald Reagan before him, can come really fast. You hardly have to change the law. You're just changing some numbers.